Hey, Dee Dee, this is a very impromptu video for you based on something you said in a comment where I have been reading different things now, where before I did not because Christianity made it sound demonic to read. Well, Pentecostal anyway. They are the same as what Jesus says. Yeah, I would like to. I'm so great. Wow, that's great. You see that? I'd like to hear that. I want to do something real quick. I'm going to read from 3 sources. This is, first of all, I want to describe, I think, how this kind of begins in a bigger overview, not focused on the verse. We're going to get to that in a second, but first, how I think it all begins. And I'm going to be pulling from Buddha's Dhammapada, the Holy Bible, and the Tao Te Ching. Right from the beginning. So first of all, I'll say this. When we start out in life, we're not aware of these things generally. We are living life and we are already at a point where for some reason, we are going on this journey. We must have had a life somehow that makes us be at wit's end and think, I've got to go do something different. So we're now ready for this to pick up. This is where this begins. We've got to the point where it's like, all right, I'm done living that life of unaware of what's going on. Now I'm going to change and do something different. So this suddenly picks up. And the first thing it tells you, and I'm going to go from, I'm going to start with the Tao Te Ching from, this is a Stephen Mitchell version. The Tao that can be told is not the eternal Tao. Tao is way. The way that can be told is not the eternal way. The name that can be named is not the eternal name. I don't want to get into those 2 parts right there too much. The way that can be told is not the eternal way. I will suggest that what that means is that if you're describing this pathway as being Christian or Jewish or Muslim or Buddhist or something like that, or Taoist even, that's not right. You've named it, it's not the right way. There's something different, and it's telling you right here that even though I'm Taoism, there's something inside of here. So right off the bat, we have that arc thing going on. Something is nested inside of here. It's telling us that we can't classify this as something in the world or it'll be wrong. But then it says the name that can be named is not the eternal name. So that sounds weird, but what we need to understand is we're going to be playing these out in our psyche, that this teaching right here is my manual. When I'm ready to go on the path, I pick it up, and these words belong to me, my spirit, my soul. I'm on a soul search. This is my soul material. It's about me, and it's about my life. So I'll treat it that way. The unnameable is the eternally real. Naming is the origin of all particular things. So when we're talking about the mind, naming and unnaming, what we're doing is we're having life experiences and we're deciding the quality of that experience. We're naming it. I like that. I don't like that. I hate this. I love that. When we do that, we are creating who and what we are. Naming is the origin of all particular things. We know that can't work in the world, but it works up here. Naming something is what makes it what it is. Deciding I hate that is what makes it hate. I love that is what makes it love. That we are beginning to create ourselves, and that's what happened in our life, and that's what it's telling us right here. Here's where you came from. Here's how you came about. It was your mind condition that brought you to where you are. Free from desire, you realize the mystery. Caught in desire, you see only the manifestations. Free from the desire of things in life, wanting. I want this, I want that, I want happiness, I want... if you don't have those mental grasping things, life will unfold. You will see the mystery. You will see the way life unfolds based on what you are. Caught in the desire, you see only the manifestations. In this case, we're looking at the physical world. When you're caught in desire, you're seeing only the physical world. You're not seeing the spiritual world. I'm not going to continue on with that teaching. I'm going to jump into Buddha, the Dhammapada, right here in the beginning, the very first, it's called dichotomies. They're verse dualities. All experience is preceded by mind, led by mind, made by mind. speak or act with a corrupted mind, and suffering follows, like the wagon wheel follows the hoof of the ox. The second part of it says, all experience is preceded by mind, led by mind, made by mind. So far, it's exactly the same as the first one. It's telling us that our experiences that we have are preceded by mind, that there's something happening here first before it happens out there. It's led by the mind, and it's made by the mind. That's what both of them tell us in the beginning. But then the first one says, speak or act with a corrupted mind, and suffering follows. This one says, speak or act with a peaceful mind, and happiness follows. And the first one says, as the wagon wheel follows the hoof of the ox. What do we have there is we have a wagon wheel cycling around and around based on whatever the corruption is of the mind. The corruption that we're talking about, though, is deeper than what we think. It's hard to access this stuff if we don't look at. We've got issues up here that we're trying to resolve. That's what the corruption is. It's not that we are consciously corrupt, thinking corrupt, that we do anything. That's not it. There's a part of us, a part of our structure, a part of our psyche that has become corrupt. That is what we want to get after. And that life continues to unfold in that same way if we don't do something different. Well, that'll get on here later. That's just telling us right in the beginning, like in the Tao Te Ching, what were we told? That the way you classify something, the way you name something is how it happens. This is saying the way that you experience something is the way it happens, and it continues to cycle. If it's corrupt, if it's a good thing, then it never leaves, like a shadow of the tree that never leaves. I won't dig the one up in the Bible. You get into here, though, and it's not as sequenced that way. They're all in there, but you will find them, but they're in different places. Forgive me, I'm not going to look this one up. You remember it, though. Judge not, lest ye be judged, for the judgment with which you judge others will be... No. For the judgment with which you mete unto others will be meted likewise unto you, or something to that effect. Play it out in the psyche. The way you don't judge. Don't classify things good, bad, anything like that. Don't grasp, don't cling. Judge not, lest ye be judged, for the judgment with which you judge. So the way you put this away is going to continue to emerge under the same terms. Once you play them out in the psyche, they sound different, but these are part of that template. You're rare to go. You turn it inward. Here's how your life begins. This is what you're going to be looking for. Your mind made you the way you are, and your life is unfolding based on that. And they're all three getting to that in different vehicles. That's what you're looking for. Play it out in the psyche and see what effect it has. And I know I've said this before, but we've got the 5 parts of that we're going to play out, that can play out internally. We've got the conscious, which makes those decisions. That's who decided, who named things to begin with and has to unname things. We have to do that from our conscious. The conscious is kind of the controller of what goes into the subconscious. What has gone into the subconscious is the subconscious is the female or other parts of us. Sometimes Jesus will say, just clean the inside of the cup. We're the cup. We want to be empty inside. It can be very simple sometimes. But so we got the conscious, the subconscious, and then the things that are in the subconscious that are acting out. Those are our pain, shame, hurt, things that we don't have a hold of, things that we want to hide, things that we have fear in front of. Those elements are all there. Then there is also the way, the flow, how we flow in life, in Taoism. The way, the flow, based on what you have named, is going to determine how your life works. Jesus, if you come to the altar to leave a gift and you remember you have aught against your brother, go resolve the aught first, then come back, and your Father who sees in secret will reward you in secret. It's the same teaching, but it doesn't sound like it, does it? It's all part of that. They're all parts of the template, the healing template. With Jesus, they're not always in order. They can be jumbled up, but they're all there. In this case, you're at the altar. You're looking for a good life. You're looking for God's good graces. Please help me So you're looking for something good. But then you remember, I hate somebody, or I'm ashamed, or something like that. And you realize you have aught against your brother. You've got an issue that if you want to have God's good graces, go resolve that aught first. And then your Father who sees in secret will reward you in secret. Yeah, your life is going to change. You can believe it's God or just the way of life. It doesn't matter as long as you do the forgiveness. It's going to work. Those elements are all what we're looking for. Not all of the material uses a supernatural entity as a helper. They just expect your conscience to figure this out. But there are times where a God is overlooking and giving advice or something like that. That is going to be that higher self that exists outside of the emotions, when the conscious and the subconscious are confused together and all those issues are jumbled up, we can't quite get out of that. This part of our being can look at that from the outside without the emotional attachment. And that comes into not all of the material, but some that you may find that there. If you find a God giving advice in some place, that's probably what they're referring to. Not always. Decode it. Eating is learning. Drinking water or wine. Water is weak stuff. Wine is good stuff. Changing water into wine is changing old information into new information, updating things. Stripping naked clothing. That is what we're covering ourselves in. When we're not supposed to think today about what we're going to wear tomorrow, that is a spiritual teaching that is, don't worry. Don't spend today worrying about, this is going to happen. That's going to happen. This could be, that could be. You're not in the moment. Let that stuff go. Don't worry today about what you're going to cover yourself in tomorrow. But that's only one teaching. These are the kind of elements you're going to find in there, though, that are going to relate. Consuming is a viable thing. I'm eating. Fasting is cutting off from it. It doesn't mean not eating food. It means disconnecting from it. Spiritual fasting. Hope this helps. Enjoy. Ask any questions. I'm here. Love one another. See you in the next video.